Hi guys, it's CKRC. I wanted to make a quick video on how to update the firmware on an M2 Evo MK2. In the interest of safety, I'm going to go ahead and take off the main blades and tail blades of the helicopter. To do this, you'll need a 1.5mm hex driver as well as a pair of pliers. Now that we've got the main blades and tail blades off of the helicopter, we can go ahead and put our tools to the side as we won't need them until we go to reinstall the main and tail blades. The next step is to take off the canopy and examine our flight controller. You'll see on the left side that we have a port for the Bluetooth module. We'll take our Bluetooth module and go ahead and plug that into this port. I'm going to go ahead and plug in the flight controller. And we'll see that I have my transmitter connected, so it's going to go ahead and initialize, but you can actually do this without having your transmitter around. Now that the flight controller is powered up, I'm going to go ahead and open the OMPHOBBY app. It's going to ask me if I want to connect to the device. In this case, I do. Now, once that's there, you may get presented with a screen like this. And this screen is actually here because it wants us to upgrade the Bluetooth firmware on the module. And it's going to do that automatically for us. So you can see the progress meter is going to go ahead and run in the background. It's going to upgrade the firmware on our Bluetooth module. And that's going to allow us to do our firmware update. Okay, now that the Bluetooth firmware module is updated, it'll go ahead and disconnect. Now that the module has been updated, it's best to go ahead and power cycle the flight controller. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug it. It's going to say Bluetooth is disconnected. And I'm going to go ahead and plug it back in. We can go ahead and hit connect to device, select our device, and it will go ahead and populate our screen. Once we're connected to the flight controller, we can go ahead and go to the About screen, and this will actually put the flight controller into a bootloader mode, which is why it's beeping, or the ESC is beeping. We can see an option here called Flight Control Firmware Upgrade, and I can actually see based on the 2.11.13 that we're running 11.13 of the firmware. I want to go ahead and update that, so I'm going to click the Flight Control Firmware Upgrade. It's going to ask, do you want to upgrade now? You can say OK, and you can select the firmware on your phone. So you can go to omphobby.com and find the support link, and under there will be a link for firmware upgrade. I'll also put it in the description of the video below. In this case, we're going to use 11.21, so I'm going to select that firmware, and it's going to go ahead and update the firmware on the flight controller. Once your firmware is done upgrading, it'll show you this message. You can go ahead and click OK, go back to the device, and when you go into your settings page, it will actually, it should load the settings now for the latest firmware. And you can see that I have all stock settings here for my setup. However, because I'm running in expert mode, if I go over to the expert page, I can actually see all my settings as they are set. At this point, you can go ahead and unplug the flight controller from the battery. We'll go ahead and pull my battery out. I'm going to go ahead and unplug my Bluetooth module because I don't leave that connected normally, and put my main blades and tail blades back on. And there we have it. The firmware is now upgraded on my M2 Evo MK2, and I'm ready to go fly.